Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Palmazal and I'm an ambassador with the Community Checkup. This is the third video in my series on how to test your water for potential contaminants and what your options are if you find that your water is contaminated. In the previous video, I talked about what you need to know before getting your water tested, like when to get it tested, where to get it tested, and what materials you will need. Hopefully now you have a good idea of what you will need to get started and are ready to test your water to send it to a lab. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to find a credible lab to test your water, how to sample your water properly, and how to keep your results from being altered, and finally, how to understand the results of your water test. First and foremost, to get a good understanding of what is in your water, you'll need a credible lab to test your water sample. It's important to know what company is testing your water to ensure that you have reliable results. An easy way to ensure that you're sending your water to a reliable lab is to contact your local health department. As I said in the last video, local health departments usually have a list of state-accredited labs in your area where you can get your water tested in a timely and reliable manner. The other main option for getting your water tested through a lab is to go with a private company. This can be a little riskier because these labs might not necessarily be in your area, so it may be difficult to get your sample there with enough time to be tested before it has sat for too long. If you're going through a private company, it's important to research where the lab is located and reviews from customers. Ensure that your sample can get to the lab quickly so holding time does not interfere with your results. The next thing I'm going to talk about is how to actually sample your water properly to send it away to a lab. It's always best to obtain sampling equipment from the lab performing the analysis because they may use specific chemicals to help preserve the sample. It's also important to note that these chemicals can be very dangerous, and it's crucial that you wear gloves and eye protection when collecting the sample and handling anything that may contain these chemicals. To sample from a tap, there are some key steps that the EPA recommends. First, you're going to want to collect your sample in a place without a lot of dust, rain, snow, or other sources of contamination. You will want to use a cold water faucet that does not have anything that can impact your results, like screens, aeration devices, hoses, purification devices, or swiveled faucets. Make sure your faucet is clean before you begin, and that the bottle can be held under the faucet without touching it. Run the cold water for 2 to 3 minutes to adequately flush the faucet. Then adjust the flow to ensure the water does not splash on the inside of your sink or tub. Then fill your sampling bottle according to the instructions from your lab or local health department. Be sure to not touch the inside of the bottle as this could alter your results. According to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, if you use a private well, you can also use this method, or you can use a sample tap near the well's pressure tank, though this does not provide information about potential contamination issues in the home's plumbing. No matter where you're collecting your sample, be sure to document the date and time the sample is collected, and take a few key steps to make sure your results are accurate. As I said in the previous video, be sure to send your sample right away, either by transporting it to the lab yourself or using overnight shipping. It's best to collect your sample in the late afternoon if you are going to use overnight shipping, so there's less holding time that could impact your results. If you have any questions or doubts about sampling your water, contact your local health department or the lab performing the analysis. The final thing I'm going to talk about today is how to understand the results of your water test. Your results will likely take a few days to get back to you. Some labs have a turnaround time of as little as 3 business days, but others may take up to 2 weeks. If you're using a home testing kit, you will likely be able to see results immediately, and there will likely be a key that tells you what different results indicate. When you receive a copy of the results, it will likely look like a table with contaminants on the left side and a lot of numbers and units that could be very confusing. There's usually a key at the bottom of the page indicating what each of the units mean, but does not always tell you what the EPA safe standard is for those contaminants. If you have a question about your results, it's usually a best practice to contact the lab that did your analysis or your health department, as they can work with you on a local level to help you understand your results and what options you have if you do find contaminants in your water. There's also an online tool, mainly for well users, but can also be used for municipal water supplies, called the Ohio State Water Test Interpretation Tool. You put the results of your water test on the website, and it will help you understand if there are any issues to be aware of, and what potential treatment options there are for you. In this video, we talked about finding credible labs, how to sample your water, and how to understand the results of your water test. Hopefully now you feel confident in finding a lab to get your water tested and collecting the sample yourself. By making sure your drinking water is safe, you're protecting yourself, your family, and your community from potential health problems. As always, I've linked my sources for this video in the description below if you're interested in learning more. In the next video, I'm going to talk about what your options are if you do find contaminants in your water, and how you can work towards cleaner and safer water. Be sure to subscribe to the Community Checkups channel so you don't miss it. Thank you to the Community Checkup for giving me this platform, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.